Absolutely. So Wes, I know that, me and you, we spoken, we're friends, right?
Yes, sir.
We spoken. And you mentioned to me one time about, something happened to you when you were young, when you got shot, right? Did that happen to you as like teenager or young? Like
13 years old, man.
13
years old, yeah. Back in Gary, Indiana, running around, chasing after my cousins, trying to be the big kid on the block. At 13, I was already about 6'2", so I liked to fight. And, I was pretty good at that. And so that was around the time in the early 2000s where guns came out of nowhere. Yeah. And there was a .22 caliber. I was in Michigan City, Indiana. Shout out MC, the 219. But, if my dad is watching this, he's found out now because I haven't actually told him. So we might, depending on how this goes, I might have to edit this out. Yeah, so that's funny. You asked me too. Hey, you said, is there anything you don't want to talk about?
Yeah.
And that was one thing I wasn't thinking about. So I appreciate you bringing that up, man. Yeah. But yeah, it was one of those issues where, wrong place, wrong time. Didn't strike any vital organs. We were able to get past that, and about less than a month later, I moved down to North Carolina for good with my pops. So yeah.
How did that affect you? Because that's rare to hear people. I've been around gun violence myself, right? I've seen a bunch of people get shot, brains in the ground. I've seen all that, but I've never been shot.
Yeah.
How did you overcome that mentally?
It burns. There's nothing glamorous about it, especially in the culture that we live in, man, where, everything like that is promoted. I was around, 50 Cent is out, like a lot of the, you earn your stripes in the hood if you either been to prison or you've been shot or you've been jumped in a gang or something like that. And so that was the first thing I noticed, was that it was all a lie. Like, it hurts. There's nobody around. There's nothing glamorous about it. You panic. There's a panic mode that happens, right? Because you don't know how serious it is. You don't know if it's a scrape or if it's a graze or if I'm about to die. So it's a lot of panic. And I see that a lot of thing I notice the most is that the most thuggish, gangsterist guys around are usually the most scared when it's really time. When the guns are really blazing or things happen instantly, you see who's real and who's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's that environment. We do glorify some nonsense sometimes, and sometimes you get street cred for being a delinquent. Almost, it's like people respect you more. Did that happen to you?
Well, I didn't talk about it a lot, right? So it was something that was really tight-knit, especially within the family. Nothing I bragged about at all.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't proud of it by any means because I was out there trying to be somebody who I wasn't. Mm-hmm. If you ever need a wake-up call on whether or not you're a gangster or whether you about that street life,
get shot.
Right? If you go, and that's why I say, the guys who go back to doing what it was that they were doing before they ran into an altercation or something life-threatening happened to them, and you can go back to the same environment that you came from, that led to that, then you a real G in my, and you stupid, but you a G. So that was the main thing, man. Just distancing myself from it and saying, hey, you know what? I'm really gonna take this sports thing seriously. I'm really going to put my all into this and do the right thing and try to be a regular kid, because at that point, I'm like, what am I doing out here in the streets? At 13 years old, like, trying to sell crack with my cousin and doing things that I saw were cool. Dipset was hot at the time, so all you knew was hanging on the block. I had my do-rag and, my fake little grill in and stuff. And I'll say, a lot of that came from the music. A lot of the influence came from the entertainment and the guys I was trying to follow after, because I thought, it's not just good enough to be a good athlete. You got to be a hood dude for the girls to respect you. So that was another thing. You see how much we get influenced by the ladies.
Yeah, let's try to stay away from that one.
Yeah. That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother time.
Yeah. I'll probably start.
We love you, ladies. We love you.
I'll start another show talking about that. But on this one, man, we definitely want to focus on the men's development piece, right? Because it says a lot to somebody who at 13 gets shot, then to turn your life around to becoming a professional athlete. Like, it's hard for people to make that transition. Most people, they go deeper.
Yeah, well, you gotta remember, I wasn't in. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I wasn't in the streets, right? I was street adjacent, right? I was just close enough to be there where I could go and be on the street and get that nitty gritty feel, and then go back to my grandma's house, who had, my grandparents were very successful at the time, so I was able to see both sides of the track. Now, the point I want to make is that I was stupid enough to think that the streets is where where you want it to be, and that's where you got credibility, where everybody in the streets is trying to get to what we already had in the suburbs.
No, that there's something to be said about that, Coach, because we want to be accepted as men, right? Even as a young kid, right? Most men join gangs because they want to be accepted and they want to be respected by other men, their peers, or even their elders, right? Yep. And in certain communities, if you look a certain way, then you have to be a part of that group. If you look this way, you got to be a part of that group, right? But that's just one way that the community molds us.